Week 2 is behind us. Week 3 lies ahead. Can't believe it. It's already been 3 weeks since we were so excited for the start of Super Rugby New Zealand, and here we are. And I think we've got a pretty decent idea now of who's in the running and who's making up the rear. Steve, welcome to you guys as well from New Zealand. I'm going to start off with you. Obviously, as always, you must be absolutely everyone must be hating you on Super Brew at the moment, eh?
Yeah, I'm 100% loving life at the top. It's I think all the bad luck from the last how many years have we been doing Super Brew? it's finally turned the corner, and I got lucky. I mean, let's be honest. It's really only been one game that was kind of like that upset sort of match, wasn't it? And the rest of them have been fairly predictable since. But hey, I'll take the credit, and as I say every week, I'll be taking this little thing with me. Loving life with the yellow cap, definitely.
Paul, last week I said smart and the Blues doesn't quite come together, and this week it's Highlanders and life at the top. I don't know, it's two things I'm not used to. How you been and how was your week?
Oh, no, it's great. Yep, 2 out of 2. The bookie is giving me money. The world's a great place. Let's be honest. And hey, upwards and onwards. And I get to thump Stephen. My team gets to thump Stephen this weekend, which is what I'm looking forward to. Get to shove that yellow cap down his throat. Yeah, absolutely. Let's go get him.
Well, obviously you guys are much better than me. I don't know about the two upsets. I saw. I didn't see the Blues one coming this week either. So it's down and out, and in such a short comp, I think I can throw in the towel in Super Brew already. But at least, yeah, the bookies are still going decently. The two best punts in the first 2 rounds have come good. So far so good. Let's try and keep things going on that front. But yeah, let's quickly look back at this past weekend. I must say, as I said, I got the game wrong, and geez, how good were the Blues? I thought in the first 40 they absorbed a heck of a lot of pressure, and then they turned it around. And to me, the big thing, in those wet conditions, you thought the Blues, their big strength, those skilled backs, and their running game is going to come out of it. And it's got to be a hard slog rolling up your sleeves and getting into the battle. And often that's not exactly what the Blues like best. Akira Ioane wants to roam free and run with the ball in one hand and not really get stuck in there and pull bodies off the ball and that kind of thing. But geez, they impressed me. All your thoughts on how the Blues came through that game?
Wet, very wet. I was there. I was wet. I'm not sure about anything else. I've not watched it back on the TV, but yeah, basically they just controlled that second half. Just had that, and that seems to be what they've done in both their games so far. Is to the first half kind of in it, and then the second half really have controlled the game, and good defence. I mean, they got this was the one where they didn't concede a try. So yeah, no, they've got to be happy with that. How they're handling the second halves of their games. And their defence has been a big one. I mean, there's been a lot of talk about their wingers and that attack, but they are just making it very hard to score against them, and that's got to be your starting point, hasn't it? In any game.
Yeah, Steve, 100%. They're going to you. I mean, as Paul said, their defense, and I think they were tactically good, and even in the second half, both second halves thus far, their discipline improved. So I mean, those are things that you don't really expect from the Blues, and those are all great signs for them.
Yeah, it is great signs for them, but they should be a bit concerned that it took them the same amount of time 2 weeks in a row to learn the same things. If they want to be picky, I guess, over the match. I mean, I wrote down some notes watching these games over the weekend, and I really summed everything up by a couple of things. Line out and penalties win matches. That's Super Rugby right now. If you can get your set piece right, if you can get your discipline right, you generally are looking good to win the game. And the Blues' discipline in the first half was terrible, but the Chiefs' line out was terrible once again throughout the whole matchup. And that first 40 minutes, neither side really could take advantage of the other's ill discretions. And then, like you say, the Blues actually learnt once again how the referee was going to referee the matchup. And I do feel though the referees gave the players a little bit more time in this round. They seemed at the breakdown. So I think in the first round, they were very, very quick. If things weren't quite right, the players were a little bit quick to the breakdown and got held up by a defender. They were very quick to penalise them. I feel they got a little bit more time, which kind of didn't advantage any side more than the other, but just felt like the game kind of did the roll on a little bit more than we probably seen, which would have probably pleased the people that were complaining about all the penalties. But hey, overall, I think it was a good night for the Blues, and they're proving to be, as we kind of thought from carrying on from regular Super Rugby, that they would be a team to beat, and they've continued on quite well. And I think they've got their pack is sensational, and I think I've got to put all the credit to Patrick Tuipulotu. All the credit's going to Hoskins Tutu. He's getting all the plaudits at the moment, but I think Tuipulotu is the man. He's really stood up, and it's kind of like he's grown up. He's really the man now, and you can see the change this year in his season, and his personality is definitely stood up.
I think it was always going to be important for them to have like some of those senior guys really step up. I think that's a big part of the Blues. They've always got the young talent, but it's when one of the senior guys really steps up and leads by the example. And I have to agree with you there. I think Tuipulotu has been fantastic, and he's led the charge, and he's really been willing to get stuck in there. And as I said, to me, that's the big thing for the Blues. If everyone knows they've got the flash, but if they can bring the grunt part, then they're a seriously dangerous team. And no, I think I was seriously impressed with how they played this week, taking away the attacking game and being able to hold off. But if we go to the other side and to the Chiefs, and you hit the nail on the head there, geez, the lineouts have been poor almost across the board. I think the Blues have pretty much been the best, and obviously the Highlanders in that first week. But the Crusaders had a few struggles. We'll get to them. The Hurricanes have been pretty poor, and the Chiefs were just absolutely nowhere. Obviously, they've got a second string pack of forwards, and it's hurt them 2 weeks in a row. And yeah, I don't know where Gatlin's going to go. Hopefully, he's got Sam Cane back this week just for a bit of leadership, and Mitch Brown in the pack there, because they need a drastically change. Things aren't looking good in Hamilton. Steve, maybe start us off there.
Yeah, things look pretty bad for the Chiefs. I mean, like we always talk about, the hospital ward in Hamilton is getting pretty filled up, and it's not changed this week heading into this round's matches either. More players going down. So, yeah, it's tough, and this is where you really find out how good your depth is in, well, not only your region, but that kind of next layer underneath Super Rugby, because they're really having to dig deep, especially in that second row and that back row, to find players just to get out there on the field, almost a bit like it. So, yeah, they'll be buoyed by hopefully the return of Sam Cane this weekend. I hear a bit of word Mitch Carpick might be back as well to take one of those back row spots. So that could really boost them, but they need to sort out that line now. If they can't kick to touch or kick for a penalty to touch, or clear their own lines and have that confidence that you're going to actually win your own throw to a line out, it just kills any sort of momentum they get, and it just makes the decision making tough. When you get penalties, you're on the attack, you don't have that confidence to go to your line out, you don't have that confidence to back those guys doing the job, and it just makes things difficult. It cuts down your options. It makes the game a bit easier for defenders to read, because they know where you're going to be weak for. So yeah, it really makes it hard for them. But they've got to clean it up somehow, and the Chiefs are looking like the team that's going to struggle the most. Unlike the Highlanders, no chance of that down here.
Paul, your thoughts on the Chiefs thing?
See, everyone's concerned with the lineup. They lost 2 scrums as well. I mean, their scrum, just that entire front 5, they just don't have the power and the experience there. And I just can't see them having I can't see how they're going to improve at all, to be honest with you, because it's long-term injuries that's really hampering them. So yeah, it's going to be a tough and long season, even if it's only 10 weeks for the Chiefs coming out of this. The other point about the Blues we didn't touch on is the players are sticking. So you got Patrick Tuipulotu doing everything. So Tutu and Akiriwani to the same to a certain extent, but then they've allowed Goodhue, who is a super player, but he's definitely not an international. He's kind of one of these kind of more limited players. It's all right. Okay, all you have to do is tackle and hit rucks. Don't even bother touching the ball. Don't worry about carrying. Other guys will do that. And by letting certain players just stick to what they can do, and then saying, okay, look, Patrick, you're our superstar. You have to do both and make up for the fact that he can't. I think they've got that balance right, and a bit around roles. I think that clarity of roles, I think, is also helping some of the more limited. Well, limited is harsh, but some of the
journeyman.
yeah, some of the journeyman kind of players, just do what you're good at. Don't and stick to that. Don't worry about everything else. The problem with the Chiefs is, I mean, this is one of the things that Cornflake was mentioning last week, is just asking those your Boshiers to try and do. I mean, Boshier is kind of one of those journeyman guys, right? But he's one of the most experienced players there. So look, he's having to do a whole bunch of stuff that is beyond him, just to try and make up for the other guys. And bringing on Adam Thompson as your replacement lock, I really, you're in serious problems when that's what's coming off the bench, and it's heading off to see the Crusaders this week. Oh boy, yeah, it just gets easier, doesn't it, for the Chiefs?
I think the Chiefs, if you want to pinpoint another area, I think they've really struggled with how the game's changed. Like you talk about Bushy and Jacobson, how key they're going to be. But I think with the way the rucks play out now, that they're one and done and out so quickly, that those sort of feature open side flankers or flankers full stop don't have the effect that they would have pre sort of COVID rugby now that the laws have changed. So it's kind of the type of player that has more of an effect is kind of what the Blues have. The Kirioanis and the Satutus and those sort of big bully sort of guys that, yeah, they like to run an attack, but they just have to smash. There's not as much technical ability in it anymore as there was before, because the rucks were going a little bit longer. There was that chance for them to get in there and jackal and you know, play that sort of technical style of snaffling the ball, slowing the ball down, those sorts of things. It's kind of gone now. And so they're very less effective. And they're obviously not going to win that strongman game against the likes of the Ioannis and the Satutus and that. So they're kind of at a disadvantage straight away. Great players in that sort of game, but that's not the game we play anymore. And I think we're kind of seeing that over the last couple of weeks. The Chiefs have been good at that old style sort of game, but now it's changed. I think they need to mix it up a bit and go off a bit more of the, if they can find anyone who's big enough to do the job, but, you know, a bit more of that muscle and that sort of power sort of game in their back row to try and match up.
You see, guys, as per usual, the South Africans have been showing you the way, and you've just taken a heck of a long time to get there. You know, Fetchers, Smetchers, you know, since Jake White has been saying the Fetcher is his son who gets the newspaper. So it's not necessary. Dominate the contact area, and you're gonna go well. I mean, as you said, even, you know, Papai Lee isn't an outright fetcher, jackal as you guys call him, who plays towards the ball. He's still a decent big oak who can take the ball up. So if you look at the three of them, and Akira is certainly not that, but, you know, in modern day skills, everyone has got that kind of ability where he can get over the ball if he's in that position. So just playing a quick, you know, smaller sixes, or 6 for us, 7 for you guys, is you know, almost starting to become irrelevant. And especially it seems in these kind of laws where even the carrier gets penalized for other things rather than just holding on, you know, against the ripper. He just gets penalized for second movement and those kind of things. So yeah, it could become a little bit redundant. Onto the Crusaders. Oh, the only other thing I wanted to add about the Chiefs, to me, it's the front problems are also manifesting towards the back. I think because Brad Weber has had 2 off weeks for me. He just hasn't quite connected the way I think they'd like him to, and maybe he's taking a little bit too much pressure on himself, being the leader and now almost like a senior player. And again, it just keeps piling out. Leonard Brown as well, to me, he's just a little bit cramped in, a little bit not quite expressing himself as he usually does. And this past weekend, it was also as if though Damien McKenzie's trying a little bit too much, because he also starts to feel that, listen, you know, everything has to come from me. So yeah, everything's just putting pressure on the next guy. So things aren't great. And talking about the bookies earlier, they driving more. Unfortunately, I was one of the idiots who took the 5-1 on the Chiefs after last week. So scratch that punt. It's down the drain. Going on to the Crusaders, guys. I know it's something I want to talk about. I think everyone's jumping on the bandwagon. Yeah, I was great about the Crusaders. Happy to win my bet last week, but I was not confident at all, and I was actually not quite as impressed as most people were. I said they're a slow diesel engine and they went out like a Ferrari, but just like a Ferrari, it sounded like they might have almost run out of gas there. 66 minutes in, 25 all against a poor Hurricanes team. I was not quite as impressed as some of the others. Line-out work a bit patchy, and that with Cody Taylor and Sam Whitelock. I don't know. There wasn't anything I wasn't expecting from the Crusaders. Some penalties earlier that you could understand, but to me, they just didn't quite catch up quickly enough. And I don't think we, understand how bad the Hurricanes are at this stage. It's not really a great thing being level with them with 15 minutes left in the game. Javing Moore, let's get to you. You think you saw enough from the men in red? Do you think that this picture that we have at the back is going to repeat itself?
No. Well, look, Con, they're going to be thereabouts. They're going to be one of the top two teams at the end of this. But what we saw from the Crusaders in that first half was what we've seen for the Crusaders forever. If you're in their 22, they'll give you penalties. You can have as many threes as you feel like, but you're not having a 5 or a 7 because we're going to infringe. Right? This wasn't the Crusaders getting used to the new interpretations or focus points or anything like that. This was them just playing their normal game of, we are not letting you score 5 or 7 points. End of story. I guess the areas that you kind of that leave big question marks: 5 lost lineouts against a side that didn't execute particularly well necessarily previously on lineouts is got to be a concern by the Crusaders. And as Cornflakes pointed out earlier, if you don't have a lineout, you shouldn't be winning games. They managed to come through though. They never. It's one of those situations where they kind of just took their foot off the gas and got a bit kind of, yeah, we've won this game, and then, oh shit, the oppositions are close. Oh well, quick guys, score 2 more tries. There we go, it's over. So you never really felt like the Hurricanes were going to win this game, even when the Hurricanes got back to evens, right? You thought maybe we'll have a golden point. Maybe they'll keep it at least interesting for a bit longer, rather than, oh, the Hurricanes coming back, they're going to win this. Nah, that never really, in your bones you knew that, yeah, the Crusaders were still winning this one. My money was still safe. Even 15 minutes out, you're like, yeah, I'm not concerned. This one's still going to come home. That's when the Crusaders, right? Whenever they're down at half time, that's when you throw money on them because they come back and win. When they're up at half time, they never lose.
Okay, Cornflake, I don't know about that. 15 minutes to go. I was stressing on my -6.5, and Hurricanes at the end there again, 7 points behind, kicking for the corner, 8 minutes to go in the game and attacking. I was, I don't know about being so confident in my bet.
The thing is with the Crusaders is when you play the Crusaders, you see teams can very easily, well, not very easily, but they get the passion in there and they get close and they compete with them. But it's not the fact of getting close to them, it's the fact of overtaking them. And then it's having that confidence and the ability to stay ahead of them. Because in the back of the mind, they always know that the Crusaders have that ability to just do that freakish, unbelievable, where the hell did that happen sort of thing that can just turn a game on its head. A 3-point lead is not enough. A 10-point lead is not enough. You know, over 14, you really want that at all times. And we talked about last week about how the Hurricanes really realistically wanted to win this game. They had to go out there and just smash the Crusaders off the mark. They conceded a try within 2 minutes. And I was kind of like, well, that's the end of this one. It's going to be a hard way back for them to just mentally get back into this game after going into it saying, yes, we're better prepared. We're better acclimatized to the rules, all that sort of thing. And it just got fired straight out of the water within a couple of minutes when they scored that opening try from Super Rugby. So that's one mental aspect about it. But it's the Crusaders. What's really scary about this match for the rest of the teams in the competition is that they got hammered in penalties, especially offsides. Like I say, their line-out was pretty average. They didn't seem to play that well, but man, they still scored tries like they were never going out of fashion. It was just madness. If they've lost nothing over lockdown, it's the fact they can still score tries willy-nilly whenever they like. And if you want to beat the Crusaders, you're going to have to score at least 6 or 7 tries yourself. Kicking goals is not going to work against this team. Like Paul said, they'll give you 3s because they know that they're going to go score 7 straight after it because they're going to get back in that territorial advantage and then they've got a chance to attack you straight back. So if they'll score 7s, you score 3s, we know how that's going to go for them. So, I mean, other teams should be really worried because attacking-wise, the Crusaders just look incredible. And it was just old school sort of thing, just to see those players just scorching their way through. Will Jordan at the back, he was just so elusive. It was fantastic to see him just carving through like nothing else. So, yeah, I mean, they should be scared because the Crusaders they'll score points, they'll score tries, and they look really hard to stop even when they don't play well. And that's what they did last weekend.
But, like if you watch The Hobbit, the dragon at the end, one little weak point under its wing. The Crusaders have that weak point. They're the only team in Super Rugby Aotearoa who has not scored a drop goal. That makes them the worst team out there. That's the big weakness. They can't score drop goals.
Yeah, I thought the Hurricanes were trying to prove a point by getting that drop goal and just saying, "Ha, look, this is how you play Super Rugby Aotearoa." And then they conceded 3 tries. And
as you guys said, I think it's if conceding the penalties. I think the Crusaders are going to say, "Listen, you guys keep the drop goals. We're not even going to go there. We're not gonna draw any games. We're winning everything outright." But no, I must say they were sharp at the back there and sharp with the interplay as they always are. Just a little bit of a concern to me. The rolling maul never really got going. They took a few lineouts when they did finally catch a few, and they couldn't get any momentum again against the Hurricanes again. To me, that's a bit of a surprise. I think it's one of the weaker packs, and if you can't boss them around, you're not gonna maneuver the Islanders or the Blues. And the other thing is, I don't know if you guys just want to comment as well. To me, there wasn't anything in the balance of that back row that really impressed me. We didn't see them a lot. Wetu Douglas, I think he did a lot of line-out work, and maybe he wasn't as influential as you usually see him around the park. And I don't know if Ethan Blackadder coming on could perhaps move into the starting lineup and add something. But to me, there's not, Taufua that we've seen previously, and those kind of big ball runners, and Kieran Reid who's all over the park. And I don't know whether it was just the style of the game or whether there's not quite a lot of depth happening at the moment. Paul, maybe take us away.
Grace, 13 tackles, Harmon with 11. So they were the top 2 tacklers in the game, along with Karifi on the other side. So I think, a lot of their work perhaps is done on defence, and then you just spin the ball wide and let your Sever Reesers, your Wait, your Bridge, your Jordans do all the running. They really, they're not doing the flash stuff. They do all the stopping stuff. I think that's what they're there for. And again, that's down to game plan. One of those things I think is if you get it away from all the players to find the space to get those backs into, get those fast guys running, or get in a kicking duel. I'm trying to think how many kicks there were in this game actually, but actually not that too many, 25 and 24. But just I think they're just using their backs a lot. I mean, to see David Havili coming in next to the ruck and just cutting a line where he just walks straight through, no one even touches him. I don't think they're worried about their back row having to do any carrying. I had one concern in this game, and that was TJ Perinara with the HIA. You could see him go down, you could see him hold his head, and it's like he needs to go off for HIA. 2 plays later, he goes off for HIA. And you're like, well, look, if I can see that from my seat at the table in the pub, then someone in the ground should be able to see it as well and go, if a player's holding their head after contact, take them off for HIA. We still haven't got that sorted out, and that's concerning for me.
I mean, I probably think quite opposite to what you said there about Grace and Harmon. I thought around the paddock they were quite outstanding because they linked up really, really well. And, so if there was ever a break, if there was ever a guy on the shoulder, if there was ever half a chance, an offload, they were quite often the guys that were there taking those and linking up between them and other back players. So I guess, like we kind of talked about before, the role you expect that sort of back row players to play, I think it's changed quite a bit. And I think Crusaders are probably ahead of the game because they have had players that do that very, very well. You see the likes of Talfuas, like you mentioned, who are quite often try scorers because they were the guy there when someone got stopped 5 minutes short and then the ball pops up. Hello, here he is. The old school Kieran Reid out on the 5 metre lines. I mean, that was just a Kieran Reid special, wasn't it? But that sort of player who's always there, who's always getting that sort of support role because the Crusaders want to keep the ball alive. They want to keep it fast. They don't want the defence to reorganise. And I thought they did that role very, very well. And like Paul said earlier about the Blues, about doing specific roles, you've got to remember these guys are fairly new into the actual starting environment for the Crusaders. So I think they'll have specific roles as well. They're very good at that, the Crusaders. They'll be like, this is what you need to do. Don't worry about that other thing like Paul was talking about before. Don't worry about all those other things that the other flashy guys are going to do. You know, you're going to have Fitu Douglas is going to take on a lot more responsibility, being a more experienced sort of campaigner at the back there. Just do these special roles. That's all you need to worry about. Do that. Follow the ball carrier. Make sure to smack that ruck, get the ball back out for us. Don't let us give away penalties, as they did anyway. But generally, I thought they were pretty good. But the other one that Paul mentioned there, Duplessis Karifi, I thought was actually quite good in that game for the Hurricanes, although he's probably one of the few players who I'd actually say had a decent game. He can probably hold his head up high after that. So, yeah, it's a changing game. I reckon that back row is just, we talked about it a lot, and I think we're going to talk about it every single week too.
Yeah, Karifi three penalties. The most penalised player in it. That's my only problem with Karifi. He plays right on that edge. There. Sorry, I forgot to get a beer, so that's why I disappeared off to, folks. For if you're watching, I was thinking something's wrong here. What's not right? That's right. I've not got a beer in my hand.
If you see me open one now, you know there's a serious problem. I suppose I think the big thing is we'll me and Paul quickly mentioned it before this is probably week 5 when they go. I think it'll be nice seeing the Blues back row against that Crusaders one. Maybe I'm just expecting a little bit too much, but as you guys said, the one thing that is good, they do link up very well. You know, they don't necessarily put in the same amount of yards, but they're there to take the ball further and get it to someone else who can do it, Mwanga, whoever, to keep the move going, which is important. But I don't know, maybe it's just because I love my try scorers and I love the Satutos and the Akiras who really bash it up. So to me, that's the kind of thing I look at from my back rowers. Maybe just the last word in terms of last week in the Hurricanes, is it game over? Do we put the headstone on there, say rest in peace and thanks for coming this season? What is there left for them to play for? And I don't know, is there anything that we can still, maybe Jordie Barrett coming back? I don't know. Cornflake, your thoughts on what lies ahead for the Hurricanes?
Oh, it's pretty desperate when you're clutching at a straw like that. I think very quickly we've already seen a bit of a divide go through this division. Straight away, you can quickly see that people want to see the Blues and the Crusaders go head to head, and I think good games will be between the Chiefs, the Highlanders, and the Hurricanes. If you split those two sort of groups up, I think like we are this weekend, I think to me it's pretty cut and dry, the results this weekend. I didn't take too much time to pick who I thought was going to win, so I think that's the sort of thing. But you don't want to finish last. It's only a 5-team division. The other Hurricanes want to finish third at worst, you know. They've got to kind of target that. But for me, that's where they're kind of looking. There's still plenty to play for. I mean, every match is a derby match. Every match is one of those big games. It's a big New Zealand clash. So they'll want to step it up. They'll want to keep improving. And they'll want to beat the Chiefs. They want to beat the Highlanders and give them all a run for their money as much as they can. So plenty more to play for each and every week.
Paul, your thoughts on the games? Is it maybe time to start moving guys like Dan Coles to the bench and giving some other personnel a go or something like that?
Oh no! I mean, the reason the Hurricanes are struggling is basically look, they are missing Jordie Barrett, but they're also missing Artie Surveyor. Yes, he's there, but he's not really there, is he yet? He's still not fit. And also the other player they're missing is the big lock. I've gone blank. Plays for Walker Laurie. The other guy is who's an up and coming lock. I think if you get those 3 players in there, this team suddenly changes because you got Beef in that lock in that front 5. You've got lots of dynamicism in that back in that loosies, and then you've got someone with a thunderboot in Jordie who's just going to say play down the other end. And sure, is he as exciting as Tia with ball in hand? No, maybe not. But he can just send you down the other end of the pitch and just go play back from there, folks. If you're gonna score, you're going to score from 80 meters. Those 3 things I think would turn this Hurricanes team around and make them a lot more competitive. But the problem is I just can't see them getting those. That's the problem with this tournament moment is all these squads are pretty thin at the end of the day. Apart from the Crusaders, you lose a couple of players, and suddenly your team's not the same.
Well, I think the Hurricanes can do with a little bit less excitement at the back there between Kobus van Wyk and Telia. They can maybe a little bit of slow and steady would do a good job for them, because it's a bit helter skelter. I mean, that offload from the Safa there, that was golden. Okay, let's move into this weekend. It's the Blues, the high flying Blues. I don't know, somewhere along the line, I just feel like everyone's as soon as the last person gets aboard the train, that's when it derails. So maybe there's still a few on the platform that has to get on, but yeah, I think I'm on board now. So hopefully the crash is only going to happen a little bit later. Blues against the Highlanders. What are you guys expecting for this one? Cornflake, let's start.
Down, Cornflake, down! I tell you.
Well, I'm not really going to argue, to be completely fair, because yeah, I guess we'll get on to the picks sooner or later. But I think, yeah, for me, the Blues certainly have to be the favourites for us going into this game. I think the Highlanders had that week off. Of course, they got that close victory over the Chiefs. Both teams being similarly not unchanged going this one. I think only one change for the Highlanders at the back, with Gregory coming into fullback. And if I'm not mistaken, there was one change for the Blues as well, but I can't quite see it looking at that lineup there as well. Well, they're unchanged in the starting lineup, aren't they? Yes, so that's a big thing there. So, I mean, the teams are settled. They're looking nice. Blues are going to play that same game plan. Nothing's going to change. It's at Eden Park. They've got the home crowd as well. I mean, nothing really looks to me when I look at this matchup that there's too much going the way of the Highlanders. But I've been relatively positive here, and I've decided to be pretty stringent in finding a way that the Highlanders can actually win this matchup, especially for anyone who tunes into my videos and that. There's one area that they've got to absolutely smash, and smash the domino to start the crumbling effect, and that is through the number 10, Aotearoa Black. He is the first domino that has to go. Knock him down and take the rest of the Blues with them. If you want to beat them, I think that's the recipe you've got to go for. Smash that channel, get his confidence down. He's not a fantastic player. He's playing at the peak of his powers right now, and he's playing 100%. This is the best Aotearoa Black you're going to see. He's not going to get any better. He's not going to get to a Beauden Barrett status sort of level. He's playing at the top of his powers right now. He's, I think, still the weak link in the team. If you can smash him down and make him make mistakes, break that link between the good performing back row and second row and those finishers out wide of the Mark Taliers and the Caleb Clarks who are doing quite nicely, that could be a pretty catastrophic thing for the Blues. So if I'm going to be hopeful and dreaming of something that could happen, that's an area I think they could really, really go through. Get the big back row of the Highlanders, the big number 8, Makili to smash through there, put some pain on them. Yeah, get that confidence down on them and see what they can do from there. But I mean, the Highlanders got the problems of their own. You know, their backline's not the sharpest, a little bit fresh, I guess you could call it. So there's a lot of learnings to go on. But I mean, if they've got to attack somewhere, I think start there, straight through, smash Black. Hashtag it.
Okay, if you just bring it up, you'll see that that's the Auckland weather for Saturday. It is going to be wet, folks. Wet. And if we learn anything from last weekend, it's that basically you're going to have a Terry Black defending out back on the right wing, Beauden Barrett out back on the left wing, and they're going to both be defending deep. You're not going to have the chance to run at Terry Black. He's just going to be in deep kick returning this game. You're going to get in that 1-3-1 formation. We're going to have Hoskins out on the left and Akira Iwani out on the right attacking. So you're going to get those big boys running at players on that side. And my other computer's just got decided to die on me. Oh well, never mind, broken. So I can't tell you who the Highlanders players are they're going to be running at. But yeah, it's going to be another game, pretty much like the Chiefs game, in the fact it's going to be wet weather rugby. So expect the Blues to play, as you say, we've got the same lineup. The only difference is Joe Marchant in that 23 jersey instead of the Duffman, which and it's Joe Marchant. I don't know why everyone thinks he's French. Jean Marchant. No, it's not that at all. It's Joe Marchant, folks. So yeah, same. Yeah, expect the exact same game plan that they played against the Chiefs. I'm expecting the line out to be a real battle because it's going to be wet. I think you'll see both sides going up and competing for it, and that'll go a long way to deciding this game.
Geez, I hadn't looked at the weather, and it doesn't bode too well for a team that plays under a roof, does it? I
No.
mean, the Highlanders are predominantly a team that love playing in the rain. It was always -2 when you went down to Dunedin. And now, and they say it's always rainy down here. It's a beautiful night, and you've got thunderstorms and stuff going on up there. What's going on in the world? Hey, Southland's beautiful. What are you on about? Sun.
I was going to say that the big thing is they play under the roof, but it's almost like the Highlanders style is closer to one that's compatible with wet weather. They're not really going to throw it around from the word go. They've, as I said, probably got the best line out in the business at the moment. Definitely in the business, I mean your business. Definitely the best rolling maul there. I mean, Ash Dixon has brought that one there from his club side, so they going beautifully. And obviously, as a try scorer punter, he's probably got to be in the mix there. And thanks for that weather update. I think that makes a heck of a difference. But the only thing is, the Blues obviously have had a week of practice there. They know pretty much what to do in wet conditions, and they cope with it a heck of a well. I do agree with Cornflake though. The 9-10 combination to me is where you got to try and attack the Blues, especially wet weather. Get a hand in there, get the big Lucy's running on them quickly, and just making things difficult and making it sloppy, because we all know you can be as great as you want to be at the back, but if you don't get the ball to do what you want, it's not gonna work out the way you want it to. So that's going to be the big thing. The only problem there for you guys, Steve, is I think Finney Christie can come on from 9 from the bench, and he adds a nice little bit of energy if Knock does struggle. And obviously we know who moves to 10 when it gets difficult for Terry Black. So the problem is if your strategy does work out, I think their plan B is pretty decent. And then just a shout out to Sean. He said as well, he's seriously happy to see Joe Marchant on the bench there. So he's getting closer to having the man in his 13th spot that he apparently really, really wants him to be. So maybe in honor of the judge there, I'll have a little flutter on Marchant as a last try scorer off the bench there. I think that could be a way to go. Guys, then onto the Sunday game. I'm hoping the weather is going to be a little bit better for this one. And Sunday afternoon rugby, it's usually a bit of a spectacle. Crusaders at home in front of their own crowd. It's it's got the recipe for something special to happen on that side of the country. Steve, your thoughts? What we can expect from these blokes we have in the back? Yeah, all smiles.
Oh, I kind of feel sorry for the Chiefs. We've talked about them a little bit already, haven't they? But for mine, they look like the worst team in the competition so far. Not by the players they got, just by the players they don't have, and how they have to play without them. And they're going up against the Crusaders, who, let's be honest, are only going to get better after last week's outing as well. So, I mean, if the Crusaders can clean up those penalties that they concede a lot of, I mean, the offside line is going to be, I think, one they're really going to have to target, because they did get really hammered by that in their first half last weekend. So, I mean, where do the Chiefs, I mean, if I was a Chiefs fan, I'll be looking at this and saying, where can I target for my team to actually attack the Crusaders and get a little bit of something over them? But, you can't really find anything. You can't go for the big man, little man matchup, because they're both going with similar sort of lineups in their packs. There's really not much going for them at all. And I mean, I agree with what you said about Anton Lienert-Brown as well. As another thing I've been pointing out, he's been invisible for the Chiefs. Aaron Cruden, they all went on, okay, Caleb Trask was an experiment. We've got Cruden back. It's all right. We'll fix things now. Where did he go? He was invisible as well. He showed nothing. You might as well put Trask in and give him a bit more experience. He was ineffective as ever. So they've got a few problems going in there to the Chiefs. So, yeah, they just have to probably do the best they can, limit damage as much as they can, defend well, don't give away any penalties, and just let the Crusaders do things easily, because, they're going to do it anyway. To defend, to tackle, stop all you can. Try not to get anyone injured. And just do the basics well. Kick to corners. Try win a set piece. Just try to do whatever they can, because I think Crusaders are probably going to romp them here. It's not going to be nice. I can't think of anything nice to say about the Chiefs here. Mackenzie's doing too much. You're right. Their other key guys are invisible. They're just struggling so much. Their impactful guys of last season aren't having the impact that they were, and they're just struggling. That they just can't find a recipe to break teams, any team down, not the Crusaders. That's the worst case of it. It's the Crusaders, but they can't really break any team down into a way that they can get an advantage. So it looks pretty ominous for them, to be completely honest. I'm kind of worried for the Chiefs.
Steve, I tell you, if I was Warren Gatland, I would definitely not be phoning you to give the guys a pep talk. It's not. Just try and keep things not ugly, guys. Just try to stay close and don't injure yourself. Fantastic news.
Try and get a losing bonus point. That's the target.
Driving more. Do you think trying is going to help the Chiefs from not embarrassing themselves this weekend?
Well, it's better than not trying, isn't it? Look, it's going to be wet again. Okay, it's going to be wet and cold. So don't expect a big crowd here. Actually, so just so you're aware, the crowd for the Eden Park game is going to be 20k plus again. So it's another decent crowd. Down in Christchurch, I think they got to about 10,000, which for them is a pretty good crowd as well, especially considering, it's going to be a wet and horrible game as well. At least for them, it's an afternoon game rather than an evening game, so it shouldn't be quite so cold. But we've seen the Chiefs do not have the pack and the power for a wet game. They need dry conditions, and they're going up against sure, the Crusaders have lost Scott Barrett for the season, but and also Quinton Strange is unavailable, but you've still got Luke Romano coming off the bench with however many All Blacks caps he's got. They're just going to get ground into the mud. Let's be blunt. Good luck to the Chiefs. They're going to need those two players, Sam Cane and gone blank as the other one, the blonde-haired one, Karpik, because they're going to need to bring this right down to an arm wrestle and just be as scrappy as possible and just try and make the Crusaders make lots of mistakes and make it like a 3-0 game. That's their only hope really for this one is to make it just an absolute mud bath arm wrestle, and it just stays between the two 10-yard lines, and both sides just keep knocking it on and fumbling it. That's their game plan. Is that, and then get that one drop goal, because we know the Crusaders can't drop goal.
12 degrees, Paul. 12 degrees. That's like a summer's beautiful day. They should be out there in t-shirt and shorts. It's sensational. It'll be packed. It'll be absolutely to the rafters. To the rafters. It'll be packed full. They'll all be out there, t-shirt and shorts. There'll be no jackets in sight. And it'll be running rugby. Sivu Reece, 4 tries. George Bridge with a couple.
Do you guys have any team? What's the situation with Enor? Do you know? Is he after coming off last week? Is he good to go again, or does he have a long-term issue?
I'm not 100% sure.
I've not heard of him having a long-term issue. No. So as far as I'm aware, he will be available at this stage.
Okay.
If not, David Avili's come back from injury and played an absolute blinder. So I'm. Who cares? Obviously, Braden Enor cares, and his parents do, and his girlfriend, etc., or boyfriend. I don't want to make any. But from a performance point of view, it's not going to make any difference whether he's there or not. To be honest,
there was an update on Enor. They feared that he did have a hamstring problem, but it's not as bad as first thought. So he's questionable for this weekend's game against the Chiefs. So not that bad. If he's not here this week, he'll be back next.
Yeah, if he's questionable, rest him, because let's be honest, it's only the Chiefs.
Yeah.
But I mean that's exactly the thing with we've said everything that's great about the Crusaders, but to me the probably the pinnacle of everything is the bench. I mean, all the other teams, it's almost like you start getting a little bit short and thin as soon as you get to the bench, and then you look at the Crusaders, as you said, he's got Romano, and I'm not sure whether they're sticking to that McAllister hooker or whether Makaleo is back again, but I mean they've got some depth there, and Ethan Blackadder, who apparently is quite decent, and I mean Drummond was fantastic to me coming off the bench there. He adds a good spark, and then as you guys say, I mean having David Avili playing off the bench is, I mean that's just wrong pretty much. And as you say, I mean, his stand-in, Will Jordan, to me was the man of the match, and I actually think he's got a heck of a future. He's got like a little, obviously you don't really want to throw names around, but a Ben Smith kind of attribute to him. He just has the same aura around him in terms of having time and just being able to find space and that lazy run kind of motion of his. So to me, he's got a heck of a future, and it's actually a bit tough having David Avili in the same team, but hopefully he can pick up some tips on how to take things big. So no, it's a jam-packed Crusaders team, and yeah, the only thing, as you guys said, is the weather. So I'll consider the weather part of things, but. Now, after hearing this, I actually early in the week, one of our bookies came out at 13.5, and I took the Chiefs because I thought it was a bit big, and then I saw a -8, and I went and I took the minus. So I'm on the middle at the moment, but perhaps I should go stock up on the minus. It sounds like the Crusaders are the way to go this week, unless it is torrential rain that side. Anything else you guys want to add? Maybe just a quick one there. After 2 weeks of penalties, I've heard Bryce Lawrence is now. Said that maybe this isn't great for rugby as they expected, and there could be a little bit of a down tuning things there, and not being quite as loud on the penalty calls. To me, the one thing I was surprised, I actually think I know the Crusaders were pinned quite a bit, but the offside line isn't policed as well as I thought it would be. I thought they'd be, almost more strict on that. I saw this past weekend. I mean, the Blues in defense are very shallow. They're lying very flat and just keep rushing and smothering the the attackers. And I thought that was kind of the whole idea of the law. They were going to really watch that and almost keep them. You have to be clearly onside. So to me, that part hasn't been called quite as harshly. But now it seems like we're actually going to get the opposite, and they're going to be more lenient. Paul, I'm sure you're loving all of this. So let's hear from you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's taken us all of 2 weeks or maybe a week and a half for the press to get negative about sport again. Well done, guys. Nice, good job. Let's turn everyone off. Just why can't people just be positive about the sport for a while? Give it a few weeks. Why do they have to be? Why do we have to announce this immediately? The Crusaders have played one game, and they've given up a bunch of penalties, like they always do. This wasn't down to that. Massively missed opportunity if they do slacken off, because I think that the teams will adapt. Look, wet weather rugby tends to be whistle rugby because there's lots of mistakes. And we've had wet weather rugby, and we're going to have it again this weekend. So, I think judging the rules or judging the interpretations is harsh, considering the conditions and considering that we haven't even given the teams any time to adjust yet.
We've already seen the penalties come down, haven't we? We've already seen from the first 2 weeks, the number have come down. The players have started adapting to it already. But I mean, would you argue with like the matches we've had? Even the blowout game of the Crusaders eventually did win out. Like you talked about earlier, that was close. For 15 minutes to go, it was a tie. With 15 minutes to go, we've had drop goal winners or double drop goal winners in the last couple of minutes. We've had drop goals all over the place. We've had losing bonus points. It's been close. It's been tight. It's been exciting. And I mean, if people aren't loving it, I mean, what's not to love? This is where you get your passion from, because you're like sitting there absolutely, shaking in your boots because your team that you support, could win it or may just lose out. It's like, how can you not have the passion if you really do love your team and support your team? You'll be glued to that last 5 minutes, praying for or for against a penalty going against your team, because things are just that tight and that exciting. Things are getting better. The players are adapting. The teams are adapting. It's a best way to go. It's probably been the best rugby we've had in terms of clear visibility of what's going on. The players know what's going on. Everything is concise and it's consistent. They complain about all the penalties, but every team's getting the penalties. Everyone's getting them each way. If someone gets whistled for saying, the other team's getting whistled for the same thing. I can't find a way to complain about it. I read all these articles saying how 30 penalties in a game is too much, but come on. I mean, get used to it. This is the way it's going to be. They're the laws. Play to them. Learn it. and we'll be back to just playing normal rugby, but it'll be faster, it'll be better, it'll be more exciting, and the games are already at that stage. So what's not to love about it? It should just, if anything, I agree, to get a bit stricter, crack down on it more, and force the players to evolve and get used to the way that it's being refereed, and do it globally. Get everyone on board.
I don't think there's anything wrong with the laws and how they call it. I think you should just move your entire tournament to Australia so that we don't have to worry about all this rain. I think that's the only thing we should change about this competition.
Well,
Never rains there.
we're only one weekend away from Super Rugby AU kicking off as well. So yes, we're going to double the number of games. Not this weekend, but next weekend.
Shambles, that one.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough one for me, deciding between watching that and sticking to the Aussie Rugby League there. I think league in Australia might be bigger for me than rugby union at this stage. Guys, let's hit the predictions for this year. I think you kind of dropped your hints already there, but let's Blues Islanders conflict.
I'm going the Blues, not by a huge margin, but by 8. I just think they're going to have too much ground, too much power, too much leaders throughout that team. They've finally got things clicking, I think.
Blues by 5 for me.
Okay, next one, Crusaders Chiefs.
Yeah, I talked up a big game here for the Crusaders, but I'm still only going to pick them to win by 11. And that's duly because of the weather that I didn't know about at the time. But there we go. Now I seem like I'm smart. 11 for the Crusaders.
Crusaders by 15. Doesn't matter what the weather's like. They're still going to score points.
There we go, Jets. It's pretty confident picks this week, so it should be not a lot of movement. It's all about the margin in Super Breeze. So cheers, guys. Thanks again for joining me, and thanks everyone for watching.